Happy to join you this week. Another lesson. There's a story that I share with you about building cars and car builders that just really drives me and push my envelope and push my passion. Oftentimes I think about Boyd Coddington. I did know him. The industry knows him well and knows him wide. And they're individuals that have personal connections and interactions with him. There's even a guy who works at our shop, and one of our key guys who worked right there with Boyd at his shop, along with Foose and some of the others. So big name. But it's amazing how Boyd started in 1968 moved to California, and started working for Disneyland. He built cars during the day, didn't make a whole lot of money building them. 1968. And at night, he was a machinist at Disneyland. And Disneyland is over the top and all of the crazy stuff that they do at Disneyland. And that's how he got into billet and that lightweight aluminum that everybody loves today. It wasn't really until 1977 that he just blew up and, went on further than that, and the rest is kind of history. But there's others that I watch and I like as a car builder. I like looking at Gas Monkey. Now, I must admit, I have studied his cars and studied the cars that Richard puts out, and I've never seen a car put out that I couldn't build. That's not why I study Gas Monkey. It's not so much that their craftsmanship is higher or greater, and you look at the car kind of like a Boyd car, and you go, wow, man, what a challenge. I don't do that so much with Richard, but I still have great respect for what they do for that Gas Monkey brand. I mean, my first shop was bigger than Richard's first shop. Richard contracted out interior to Sue. I do my own interior. He contracted out paint to KC. I do my own paint. So just totally different. But why am I so focused and enamored? Why would I read a book by a gentleman who I think I can build a better car than? And I think my shop, all things being equal, I say you put us both in the same room, you give us the same talent, you give us the same money, same time, I'll kick his butt. But when you start talking about branding, I mean, my goodness, what a brand. I mean, he set up himself for generations to come. My grandmother used to say, when the creek rise, everything on the creek rise. When I think about Gas Monkey, they have really taken the prestige of resto-modding, not restoration, but resto-modding, taking cars, putting bigger engines and bigger brakes and modern AC systems and entertainment and classic cars and making them cool again and, fast and loud, And so I study that, and it's interesting to do that. And there's others. I can call out some other names. What about Ryan with West Coast? I mean, just a little old dude, man, a little kid that had big dreams, and I think he has a roller coaster now in Dubai. Just a huge brand, and the way he takes the modern cars and see them as a template. I mean, he'll take my Corvette here that I think is pretty cool. He cut it all up, man, and do some crazy stuff with it. So I'm pretty intrigued and inspired the way he attempts to really go after modern OEM technology and do some cool things. And it inspires me to a new level. And there's what about Chip Foose and how he takes the classic car and re-envisions it and says, you know what, I think I can do it better. Let's just figure out how to make this car better and let's not limit ourselves to the limitations of the original designer's thought. Let's just take this car, make it the best we can make it, use modern technology. I mean, I'm inspired by all this stuff. You know what I mean? It's exciting when I look at this. And every day in my shop, I take these guys and the Bobby Alloways and the Alan Johnsons and anyway, the who's who of car building. And I'm not going to leave out my old cousin now. I have an old cousin. I'm going somewhere with this, okay? But my old cousin, man, Adam, I put him up against anybody. Hell, I put myself up against anybody, but I definitely put him up against anybody. And just a terrific car guy, and gave me my first start, and just being around high-end cars and the whole high-end lifestyle. First time I ever seen $20,000, $30,000 cash, and even saw first time I saw a business check and how you write it and how you get cash out and all that kind of stuff, and saw a black man on the big stage competing with being the only one there and competing to buy a 911, and pretty exciting stuff, inspired. But there's a story here that is pretty darn inspirational. There's a story here that is pretty exciting here. When you look at here, I'm going to take you to John chapter 6. When I look at John chapter 6, I'll give you a text. We'll look at a lesson here. Let's pick up in John chapter 6. It's the same scenario about being inspired, about being encouraged. Over there, as we go to John chapter 6, I want you to look at a backdrop of another lesson, another text rather, John 14:12. Jesus says in John 14:12, and we'll come back to 6, he says, the things that I've done, you shall do. That's pretty big. So, you know, as a car builder, the things that Chip Foose has done, the things that Adam Samuels has done, the things that Ryan has done, the things that Gas Monkey has produced, the things that Ken Diggett, I mean, that's enough to make you shake in the boots, right? They've done some great things. But Jesus says here, he does not only say, the things I've done, you shall do. He goes one step further. He says, you will do greater things than I've done. He says, the things I've done, you shall do, and greater things. And that's our challenge today, is to do greater things, to be epic, to be extraordinary, to do things that boggles the mind. And I believe faith in action produces epic stuff. Faith in action produces epic results. Faith in action is a life changer. Faith in action can stop COVID-19. Faith in action can open up your business in the midst of a pandemic. Faith in action can heal your relationship. Faith in action can heal your body. Faith in action can take you from being in ICU, can take you from being on life support, and can bring you back home. Faith in action can take you, I mean, there are some individuals, think about it, that are locked up in prison with terrible sentences. They know they're not going to release them, especially the federal government. Federal government is not going to let you out unless you serve, I think it's 80, 90% of your time. Well, funny thing happened. COVID-19 came and coughed a whole lot of them up. A lot of those guys have gone home, and gals. Powerful thing. So faith, when we have total trust and dependence on Almighty God, when we place our total unyielding support and dependence upon Him, it will produce amazing things in your life. So Jesus says, the things I've done, you shall do. Now let's come back and put another text with it. So now let's come back to John chapter 6. And for our lesson today, I'm going to pick up somewhere around 14 if this wind allows us. I'll just pick up somewhere around, let's pick up around 20, 19. So when they had rowed about 5 and 20 or 30 furlongs, that's just basically saying 3 or 4 miles. When they had rowed about 3 and 4 miles, they see Jesus walking on the sea and drawing nigh unto the ship, and they were afraid. 20. But he said unto them, it is I, be not afraid. 21. Then they willingly received him into the ship, and immediately the ship was at land whither they went. Translation says, hey man, these boys was about to die. These boys had trouble on their hand. They were on the ship. The wind was bad. It was troubled in their lives. And here they are by themselves, feeling all alone. Listen, we're isolating at home during this time. Individuals are isolating at home. You can't go to work. Some of your social activities you like to do, whether it's the gym, whether it's the bar, whether it's the club, whether it's just going shopping or whatever it is, even going to the grocery store has become a major challenge. And here it is, life may have you feeling isolated. It may have you feeling alone. We see that domestic violence is on the rise. We see all of these things. I hear shops closing day in and day out. It absolutely breaks my heart when I hear those things. I hear not only people dying and family dealing with the hurt of that, and families can't even go when your family members in ICU. One of the things we want to do is be there with them, hold their hands, and let them know we love them and that we're with them to the end. And here they are by themselves, alone in ICU. Because of COVID-19, you can't even be there. And here they are once they die and they have a funeral. We can't come in mass numbers to express to ourselves and each other, the surviving family members, and them in their absence that, hey, we love you and we're going to be with you all the way to the grave. I mean, just a terrible challenge that we face ourselves in right now. And it certainly has those sick feeling isolated, and those who are not sick and at home still feeling isolated. And so what do we do there? There's a message here, there's a word here that says Jesus is with us, that says God is with us at every hour, at every moment. Now, this is somewhere around the 20th miracle if you're looking chronologically. Now, the first miracle was what? Jesus turning water into wine. The second miracle was also in John, where he healed the nobleman's son. So now we find ourselves arguably around the 20th miracle. And this is the miracle where Jesus walks on water. Now, preceding this miracle, the 19th miracle in this same lesson was when Jesus fed the 5,000. So where am I going with all of this? The disciples have had experience with Jesus. Somewhere around that 10th miracle, there was the story of Jesus saying, "Peace be still." Over there in the 4th chapter of Mark, that was a boat, and the disciples were on a boat, and they were with Jesus, and they thought they were going to die, and Jesus said, "Peace be still." There around that 39th verse, they said, "What manner of man is this?" And so we find ourselves, and the disciples find themselves, they find them at this point in history where they've had a minimum of 20 reference points where Jesus has done extraordinary things. Now, here it was just yesterday, if we were back in time, because this is the next morning. Here it was just yesterday evening, just not that many hours ago, Jesus just fed 5,000 men, collectively almost 25,000 people. And here they are a few days later, feeling isolated, feeling alone. Here they are on this sea all by themselves. And what are they going to do? And Jesus, where is he? Jesus is hiding up on the mountaintop, not literally, but Jesus is up on the mountaintop looking at his beloved, and he's saying, "Be epic today. Let me in your life be epic. Let the word in your life produce itself. Let faith in me do bountiful things at this moment and at this hour." The challenge of faith is not passing a trivial contest of, what does Hebrews 11:1 say? Oh, I got the answer. Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Oh, who wrote the book of Hebrews? No, it's not about that. The challenge of faith is when you find yourself isolated, when you find yourself alone, when you find the world has been shaken upside down all the way around in the midst of a pandemic, what do you do? I believe you get in your boat and you head to the other side. Now, the three things in this lesson I want to look at today, the three things that I think will empower you today. It will empower you to do epic things right now. Let's not stop living life and start living it in January. Now, there's a big debate going on. Do you stay at home or do we open the economy back up? I don't have time to deal with the political side of that. That's not my assignment in the earth. That's not what I do. I'm not a political commentator. I build cars and I help people see life through the eyes of God. That's pretty much what I do. So if you want to put it on the tombstone, that's what I did. I built cars and help individuals see lives through God. So I'm not commenting politically at all at this hour. But what I am saying is we have the ability as the people of God to expand ourselves, to do things, and it is time to do it now. We don't want to put our dreams on hold. We don't want to put our lives on hold. I want you to get up and do it now. There's someone that planned to get married this year. Why not get married this year? There's someone that planned to start a business this year. Why not plan to start that business this year? I want you to live your dream. I want you to be bold. I want you to be bountiful. I want you to step out on faith. The challenge and the hard part is actually doing it. There's a facility here very near to our main campus that we've been looking for a facility similar to this for probably the last 18 months, and many people have been looking. So it's on the market. I said, Lord, you're pretty comical. Why would you put this on the market in the midst of a pandemic? Why would you put this on the market when businesses are closed down? Why would you put this on the market when people aren't even driving around on the road anymore? And what God dealt with me in my spirit was, look at the vision, look at the dream, look at the assignment. I want you to do the same thing. I want you to be vision driven. I want you to look at the vision that God has written upon your heart, and I want you to walk that thing out in life. But there are three things here about the vision. There are three things here about the dream. There are three things here about destiny. There are three things here that I think will help us and inspire us to be epic. I want you to do epic things. All right, let's look here. The first thing I want you to know is you have to get in your boat and you have to cross your sea. Get in your boat and cross your sea. Now, some of you taking notes at home. I love to write. I love to take notes. I love to come back and reference it. Get in your boat and cross your sea. Now, what's the key part of that? Was it boat? What was it? Get? What's the key part of that? The key part is the personal pronoun. That's the key part of that revelation that God gave me. Get in your boat, and cross your sea. The disciples, now listen, there were many boats out here. There were many boats. There were many people on the water. And metaphorically speaking, Jesus even got in his boat. There was no boat, but I come back to that later. But get in your boat and travel across your sea. Listen, everybody's boat don't look the same. Everybody's boat ain't blue, Z06, Corvette, leather on the inside. I mean, making about 700. No, that might be my boat, but get in your boat. See? And then travel your sea. Travel down your street, walk out your assignment in the earth, but you got to get in your boat to do it. A couple of revelation insights that God has given me about this. Listen, I believe your boat, I want to talk about your boat, and I want to help you define your sea. I believe your boat was there in your past, present, and future. See, you don't have to go look for the boat. You don't have to go borrow a boat. You don't have to go find a boat. These men were fishermen. These men have been around the water all of their lives. Many of them, their fathers were fishermen. And here they are on a boat around water in an environment that they know extremely well. And here Jesus has a most monumental, a most epic day planned for their lives. I want you to understand the boat of your life is ordinary. What is the ordinary to you? And what makes it unusual is when God gets in the boat with you. What makes it unusual and what makes it extraordinary is that when the assignment that God has for your life, it begins to produce itself and manifest great results in your life. That's what happens when he gets in the boat. Here it is, Boyd Coddington, if you go back to that illustration. Here he is working at Disney. Certainly he wants to be a full-time car builder in 1968, but he can't be a full-time car builder in 1968. He needs benefits. He needs a steady paycheck, because if you know anything about building cars, I mean, sometimes the money don't come. Sometimes there are delays, and sometimes it's part of the process of building cars. Live situations change, and here this is a 2-year build process. Well, things change. How it started and how it ends, a lot has happened within 18 months or 36 months of time. But here he is, goes to Disney, working there as a machinist, and working there as a machinist, making all kinds of cool stuff. He's introduced to Billy. And here he is, his boat, which is building cars. And here he is as a machinist there. He stays in his boat, see. The sea might change. The sea might seem a little choppy. One day it's smooth, one day it's rough. But stay in your boat. He kept his mind as a creative automotive engineer. And here, Billy, I mean, I don't build a car without putting some kind of billet on it, you know. There's a great company out there, Billet Specialties. I call them all the time for billet things. Billet is just all the rage right now. Just a lightweight, durable, strong metal. Be in your boat. Your boat is going to be your past. It's going to be in your present. It's going to be in your future. Your boat was always there. You just need to see your boat through the eyes of God. What is it that God wants you to do? I've been around cars all my life. All of my life, I've been around cars. All of my life, I had an affinity with cars. Talked a little bit about my cousin Adam, and I mean, before I was 16, man, I was familiar with any exotic European car you can think of, from Mercedes to, I remember when Lexus first came out. I guess I'm a little old if I remember when Lexus first. Anyway, that's a whole nother story, man. But I remember when Lexus was all the rage, and we'd buy them about a year old. And one lesson I learned from my cousin was there's nothing wrong with the car if you know how to fix it. I mean, what's wrong with it? Oh, it has a dent in the side. Oh, man, don't look at that. I said, no, don't buy that one. It has a dent in the side. Oh, that's nothing for us. It doesn't run. It doesn't have an engine. I mean, I know it's a 911, but there's no engine in it. That's nothing for us. It's not a problem if you know how to solve the problem. Stay in your boat. Cars have been with me all my life. I had a whole bunch of them. So I love building them. But the other thing is you got your boat. Am I helping you? I hope this is encouraging you. I hope this is blessing you. The other thing is not only do I have my boat, but I got to cross my sea. I got some other stuff to say. I might not get past sea. The sea part you got to get. The sea part you have to hear. See, your sea. I believe your sea contains two things. It contains your passion and it contains your pain. Now we talked about your boat, and I think your sea is able to handle your boat. There's some rough roads that this car is not designed to go on. This is a cool car, man. It's really, really cool. I thought about taking a road trip, and I was going to take it down to North Carolina. I was going to leave Texas. Boy, I had it all planned out. And I was going to make that road trip. And then I thought about it. I was like, man, what if it rains? And what about this? And what about that? And these old tires really ain't made for that. Old track tires. So now I got to change my tires out just to die. It became too much trouble because this is not ready for certain seas. But your boat, once we figure out your boat, then your boat can travel your sea. Key part of this illustration is personal pronoun. Good friend of mine, world famous, Tojo, world famous. He's probably the baddest horseman in Houston, Texas. Now this is a state full of horsemen, and Houston. You know, if you know anything about Houston, Houston is number 1 and Dallas number 2 or 3 somewhere. So, and he's the baddest that I know from this area. He's worked for some of the greatest ranches and won a whole lot of races. And he got more firsts than individuals have entries. You know, great guy. But anyway, I asked him. We talked about horses one day. We just visiting and talking. I said, man, do you? I said, I don't trail ride too much. Do you trail ride? And things like, he said, no. He said, Reb, I don't get up on a horse unless I'm trying to ride him to get a paycheck. So unless my horse is taking me to a paycheck, I don't ride for fun. I don't ride for fun. I don't ride to ride. I don't. That's not how my relationship with horses is. So here it is, the vehicle of a horse that I use. I use mine for pleasure and things of that nature. He does not. His horse has a specific path. It's to take him to get a paycheck. World-class winning jockey there. But your sea involves pain and passions. Here's a funny thing. I talk about all these car builders. I talk about Alan Johnson, and some of these I know, and I talk about Bobby Alloway, and I talk about Boardington, and just so many other. Now watch this. If I don't have my phone, but if I Google, this is my pain part. If I Google car builder, those names I just mentioned gonna come up, and some other names I've never heard of. If I Google famous car builders, they're gonna come up, or some other names. If I Google famous white car builders, their name gonna come up, or some other names. If I Google black hot rod builder, their name come up, their face, their likeness, or someone that looks like them. If I Google black car builder, how that come up? That's a pain for me. It's a pain look here, I've been in this game a long time, and I'm good. It's been good to me, blessed me in so many ways. I've done everything in the industry I could really do. If I don't do anything else, man, I'm good. Right now, I give back my time to empower young people. You know, a lot of people go to SEMA and they got their hot spots. I mean, all of them. They got all the big builders. Go to SEMA, you got your hot spots. Well, most people don't know. When I go to SEMA, my first stop is the Andre Agassi Boys Club. I got to go. Why I got to go? Because they ain't never seen nobody like me. They can't Google me. They can't Google Black Car Builder, and about 7 people come up. Adam Samuel, Sabra Johnson, and this one, and you're not going to come up. So they need to see that so that they can dream and they can see it. They can put on Motor Trend. They're not going to see it. They put on the Velocity Channel, which is now Motor Trend. They're not going to see it. Where you going to see it at? They can go to SEMA, look in all the booths. They're not going to see it. You go to the Battle of Builders, you look at the long list, you ain't going to see it. Top 10, you ain't going to see it. Why? That's a pain. Now, how do I approach that? They go all the way back to, I was around my cousin, and we were buying 911s and high-dollar cars and wearing Rolex watches and ballet shoes and pocket full. That's a whole nother story. But the way I was taught was, man, we're just going to be better. That's how we're going to do this game. We're going to be better. We're going to buy the best car. We're going to build the best car. We're going to be better. We're going to have the best customer service. We're going to be better. We're going to be finely dressed. We're going to communicate properly. We're going to eat healthy. We're not going to stay in no lazy hotel. We're going to do it first class. We're going to do it the right way. We're going to be respectful to all types of people. That's how we're going to do it. And we're going to prove we the best. We ain't going to ask nobody for nothing. Just get out my way. We get it ourselves. That's the way I was taught. But there's a pain there. See, when I go back to Black Car Builders, I got to go all the way back to C.R. Patterson. Now, this is 1915. I got to go way back to 1915 just to find that builder. And in somewhere around 1918, they had a car that had 3 philosophies. I was trying to find my phone so I could just tell them to you verbatim, but I'll summarize them. 3 philosophies. The first philosophy was, this car is not designed to be super large. This car it replaces the family's Surrey. This car will not travel more than 5. Then it comes on back down, and in the second point, it says, this car is not designed to be a major expenditure on your budget. Now, I got to go way back to 1915. You talking about some pain, see? I got to go way back there to get an illustration of what it looks like, of what a builder of my makeup looks like, way back there. But at least I can go back there. So he talks about it should not be of great expenditure. And then the third thing, now what am I talking about? I'm talking about your boat, and I'm talking about your what? I'm talking about your sea. And the third thing he says is, it should have every luxury convenience known to man. That's a powerful thing, man. What a heck of a builder. What a heck of a manufacturer back there in that day. Just a powerful thing. My timekeeper's telling me my time is almost up, so I'm going to move with some swiftly. But I want you to see your pain and see your passion, and I want you to pull those 2 things together. If you go know anything about me and in my business, I document everything I do. I take pictures of everything. Individuals work for me, they go, oh, another picture. I take pictures all day long at the shop. I hire people to do nothing but document the working process, to document it. Sometimes I get calls from networks, ask me, do I want to do a TV show and things of that nature. I ask them, how much you paying? Then they come back with that little bit of money and all that kind of stuff. I don't need that, man. I'm good. But I document that. Now, part of the reason I document that is because I'm passionate on the one side, and I want to stem the passion of other people. But the other side is I know my pain and where I come from. I know I got to prove that I did it. You don't know if I put Bondo under there. You don't know what's under there. So, and you might question me because you're not used to seeing a builder of my makeup. So therefore, I'm going to show you when I take it down. I'm going to show you when I build it back up. And I'm going to show the paint coming out the gun. Now, I did that as a pain. When I started many, many years ago, y'all, and now here it is. I've been around cars and car building all my life. I really have. And here it is. The individuals will ask me, you sure you can build that? Have you ever done that before? Do you show you could do that? And I started doing it. I said, you know what, y'all? Let's document everything. It was a big deal. Now, most builders don't understand that. They don't know nothing about what I'm talking about. Why? Because they don't have to deal with that. So here it is. Now, I'm going somewhere. I'm talking about pain. I'm talking about passion. When you get intimate with your pain, it will become a marketing opportunity for you. When you become intimate with your pain, when you become intimate with your struggle. I have a huge apprenticeship program. I've been doing it for years. And I found myself a few years back with a couple other staffers. We were sitting in a room with, I think it was the RMO Council. They were talking about what can we do to impact the lives of youth. And they talked about this and that, and nothing has worked, and they don't know how to do it, and da-da-da-da. And I said, well, we have a program we've been running for about 4 years now. And these are the students that we've touched. These are the students that we reached. And these are the lives that we changed. And why? Why did I even get into that? Because I knew young people needed to see possibility, that you can do anything if you set your mind to it. So I would bring them in, get them in this industry, let them see it from the bottom, and let them grow up. All right, a couple of individuals in there, so that's great. I love the way you're changing the lives of the inner city. I love that. No, I didn't say that. I love that. I love the way you're changing the lives of individuals that come out of single homes. I love the way, this is a story now. I love the way that you are getting those at-risk kids so they're not going to prison because, and I had one say, you know, because in the black community, there's so many. I say, well, you know what, man, I only had one black student. The rest are white from the suburbs with a mama and daddy at home. These are just things that my journey goes through. And I do it because I love it. I do it because these young people need to see. I don't care if you're black, white, Hispanic, Asian, Indian, I've had them all. They need to see that greatness knows no barrier. Greatness does not come in a color type. Greatness does not come in a gender. Greatness is something innate. It is something within you. And if you're listening to me at home, I don't know the pains of your journey. I don't know the passions of your journey. And I'm not complaining and bad-mouthing my industry or anybody like that. I'm just using my life as a canvas, as an illustrator, through which you can connect and learn. I don't know exactly what yours may be, what your pain may be, what your passions may be. But what I am saying is, know that Jesus is with you in those passions. The other thing I see here, not only must you get in your boat and travel your sea. I'm going to do these real quick. I won't teach them all the way. The other thing I want you to see is power comes from the mountain, not the men that you are around. See, it's not minutes with the men, it's moments at the mountain. See, look at that text again. Jesus got away from it all. He got alone. He got unto himself. I'm a car builder. I love cars. I have multiple Corvettes. I got tractors and all kind of stuff out here. Don't nobody know but me in my household. I guess let's see a video. But don't nobody know. I didn't buy this for anybody to like but me. I didn't buy this for anybody to enjoy. And I had a guy work for me one time. I won't call his name. He said, oh, I drove a Corvette one day. You know, normally I just drive a pickup truck or something. And he was a new guy. I drove up in a vet. I've been having vets, a long time. And so I pull up in a vet. He says, oh, midlife crisis. See, you're in a midlife crisis. I said, y'all better tell him something. I said, man, I guess I was in a midlife crisis when I was 19 and 22 and 27 and 32. Man, I've been driving these a long time, little fella, long time. The moment is the mountain. See, the problem is we cannot be alone, some of us. Think about it. We get in the car. What's the first thing we do after we cut the AC on? What's the first thing we do? Turn on the radio. And what about the people who listen to talk radio? So then you have somebody in your ear constantly talking, giving an opinion, whether it's sports, whether it's politics, or whatever it is. Then you got the hottest song on. You're never alone. Power is not gained amongst men. Power is released amongst men. Power is expressed amongst the men. The power is when you are alone. The power is in your private time. Yesterday I rode in the truck. My daughter was with me. my youngest daughter. So we had there was a accident there. I said, baby, we got a detour. We get an excuse to ride. So I detour. I go, I know 30 miles out of the way. I live in the country, so you ain't but one road in, one road out kind of thing. I said, I need some depth, so let's ride. So we rode, and in about 10 minutes in, she goes to sleep. I got the music blasting. She had it on some hip-hop station. And they had old versus new. The new stuff I didn't know. And she went to sleep, and they put on that old jam I knew about, see. And here I was riding, man. Riding. Here I am on 290. My daughter on this side, sleep, just enjoying. I got the seat massaging me in the truck. And I'm telling the Lord, thank you. See, power is in the private moments. It's not in the public moments. It's in your private moment. It's when no one is looking. What are you doing? For my builders out there, it's what you do when you at home. You know you put Bondo right there. You know you shouldn't have put that fiberglass right there. Ain't nobody. It's between you and the Almighty. What did you do right there? The other thing, and I can't teach on them too long. The other thing is dare to walk on water. Dare to walk on water. In this lesson, Jesus literally walked on water. I know two other people in life that walked on water besides Jesus. Two. One is in the Bible and one from Houston. So that was an old preacher, man. They say he was down at this old creek. They say the preacher would walk on water every Sunday. You know, first he had 2 or 3 people there. They didn't have no internet back then. And, man, they start having crowds. And they watch Reb walk on the water. He walked. Now, some of y'all old enough from Houston, y'all probably remember that old preacher. I ain't going to call his name. But he's walking on water. He's walking on water, walking on water. And then they found the tree stumps that was in the bottom of the creek there. So really there's only one man besides Jesus walked on water. His name was what? Peter. But Jesus says, and Peter illustrates the truth. Jesus says, the things I've done you shall do. I want you to push the envelope. Push the envelope. All right, I'm about out of here. Boyd Coddington, I've called that name a few times today. At the end of his journey, they charged him with I think they call it a ship or something like that. But here's what happened. Boy had been pushing the envelope pre-1968. He pushed it 1968, 1978. He pushed it 1988, 1998. And his mindset was, how can I build a better car? He didn't care about this panel being bad. He said, I'll just make another panel. And that's how he built old cars. But then he got to the point where he was building the cars he was building that were registered as antiques. They were so far over the top, and they had so many unique fabrications upon them and modern technology that the state of California said, you cannot call these classic cars. These are new cars. And Boyd didn't quite understand it, didn't quite maybe agree with them at the time, and they settled that out. Anyway, that's not a part of the story I'm talking about. But what I am talking about is he pushed that envelope. He pushed that envelope so far. He walked on that water. He got in his boat. He traveled his sea. He had power when he was alone. And then one day he said, like Peter, well, I'm going to walk on water. I'm going to do something that's never been done before. And Boyd is still credited with doing some things that's never been done before. Lastly, I go back to my friend, old great Toe Joe. He said, Rep, when I ride a horse, now if anybody know anything about horses, it's not that Toe Joe was the best jockey in the world, but it is argued that he is the greatest jockey at riding troubled horses that nobody else could ride. He could ride the most angry of horses, the most crazy of horses, the most aggressive of horses. He could ride them. I said, man, how did you build a reputation for riding those horses? He said, well, I just made him give me his life when he asked me for my life. He said, I'd hold him back first 2/3. He said, but when we got down to the end, I let him give me his life, and I put mine on the line, and we rode. He said, and that's how I came in first. I took that wild horse that had the ability to run like nobody else could run. A horse that had a tendency to maybe stop mid-speed. And I knew my life would have to be on the line. He said, but when I saddle up and I get them legs on him, you lock him in, and when I ride him, when we get down that last third, I turn him loose and tell him to give me his life. That's what God wants from us. He wants our life. There's some great victories he has planned for you. There's some great victories he has planned for me. And all he says is, hey, man, give me your life. I gave you mine. I went up on Calvary's cross. I hung there. I died for you. I bled. But I didn't stay in the grave. I rose from the grave. And I ascended back to the right hand to the Father, the hand of favor. And as I'm there, I'm mentioning you in his ear. I'm talking about your good each and every day. I've given you my life. Now, if we're going to win this race together, if we're going to ride, we're down the backstretch, I need you to give me your life. Hey, God bless you. Thank you for joining me today. Hey, we'll do it again next week. Hey, don't destroy your old cars. Restore them.